Now there was a book that could have absolutely everything about its subject fully contained within its bindings. I saw photos of my house, old ones. There used to be a silo on the property. I found the silo, she said. But there was no silo on the property now. I pointed that out to Shan. Shan said, "We have got to look, Austin." "But it's dark and shit," I said. "Do you think someone is hiding the McKeon silo?" "You can't hide a silo in Iowa. The best you could do is maybe disguise it to look like someone else's silo. Or maybe something like a penis?" People in Iowa were generally too reserved for such antics. "No," Shan chided. "I don't think someone's hiding our silo, but there was one here at one time." "Ah," I said. "Tomorrow, after school, you, Robbie, and me will go see if there's anything left of it. I have a copy of the picture." I said again. I glanced back at Robbie. Shan knew we were going to get drunk. We told her. She didn't approve of it. What can you do? Somewhere there was a middle-aged, nice-looking woman, a psychologist with voluptuous, artificially induced lips, who, as a foremost expert on teenage boys, could serenely explain to Shan that boys sometimes need to be boys and do dumb things that can get boys in lots and lots of trouble, and shit like that. But Shan did not watch much television. "Okay, Shan," I said. "I think we can do that. Maybe there is something there after all. I just know we're going to find some other weird stuff that Grady McKeon was doing here," Shan said. I agreed and said, "There's probably more than anyone will ever know." Then Shan said, "I love you, Austin." I looked at Robbie in the back seat, then at Johnny behind the wheel, and said, "Me too, Shan." In my defense, and with plenty of history to back it up, it was a perfectly acceptable response considering the environmental realities I had to contend with. Shan certainly understood the translation. "I am sitting next to your stepfather and my best friend. You know what I mean." My mom's little blue kayaks. I had two of my mother's little blue kayaks. They were hidden inside a matching pair of clean gray Curtis Crane Lutheran Academy regular boys' socks I had brought with me to Robbie's apartment for school the next day. Robbie did not know I had them. I unrolled my sleeping bag on the floor in Robbie's room and left my stack of Lutheran boy clothes on top of his dresser. Robbie brought in a bottle of wine he'd hidden in the back of his refrigerator. His mother knew nothing about it. The bottle was so cold the glass fogged and dripped. Then I showed Robbie the Xanax pills I'd stolen. He was not happy about what I did. Robbie said, "I'd never take one of those, Porcupine." I said, "Why not? Everyone else does." History lesson for the early evening. When teenage boys say everyone else does, he's usually not being mathematically precise. Robbie knew that. We spoke the same language. I came to my own defense, rationalizing. "I always thought they'd make me feel better." "Better than what?" Robbie asked. "I don't know," I said. "Better than shitty and scared all the time." "Don't be dumb, Austin," Robbie said. Robbie unscrewed the cap on the wine. I watched him swallow. He liked it. "Well, I'm going to take one anyway," I said. "Go ahead," Robbie said. Robbie would not take one. He looked unhappy when I put the tiny blue pill on my tongue, but it was something I always wondered about. I hoped my mother's little kayak would help me figure things out, get things to fall into the right place. I washed it down with some wine. The wine tasted sweet, and it burned at the same time. Robbie kept the grimacing lemur mask in the plastic yard flamingo in his bedroom. I tried the lemur mask on. It didn't make my face think, and the lenses in the eyes made everything look strange. There was some kind of refractive prism on the lenses of the mask that made Robbie look blue. I took it off. "Yes," I confirmed. "Now my face really does stink." Told you, Robbie said. Did that Xanax do anything to you? I don't think so, I said. But it's only been a minute. I picked up the flamingo. I shook it. What are you doing? Robbie asked. Shaking the plastic lawn flamingo, I explained. Why? Robbie asked. I want to see if candy will come out of his ass, I answered. Maybe I was starting to feel different. We shared more wine. We drank straight from the bottle. I was kind of messy. The wine ran down my neck. It baptized St. Casimiro's, but it also made my face not stink so bad. Maybe the message was about this flamingo, I said. I was somewhat impressed by my brilliance. Said Robbie. Robbie wasn't really paying attention. He opened up his record player and he'd opened up his record player and was flipping through a bookcase of vinyl LPs that used to belong to his dad. Yeah, I went on. Maybe it's like a smoke detector for that shit in the Globe Tyler dropped. McKean Industries did use to make Pulsomatic brand smoke detectors. I think you're high, Porcupine, Robbie said. He shook his head and carefully grooved the stylus into the edge of the spinning record. I don't know exactly what the Xanax did to me. All I can remember is how relaxed and not uptight I felt. I did not care about anything. Everything was nice, very nice. As I sat there on the corner of Robbie's bed, I was aware that nothing at all mattered anymore. I wasn't confused about feeling happy. I was floating away. We finally could forget about everything. Robbie played a crackling vinyl record of Exile on Main Street, and we got drunk on screw-top wine and smoked cigarettes and took off our t-shirts. I opened my notebook and drew sketches of Robbie as he reclined, bare-chested on the floor in the slate-colored streetlight that came through the apartment's open window. It was warm, and outside the sound of insects in the night was electric. The music sounded better than anything I had ever heard. I had never been so happy in my life. I played with the little silver medal against my bare chest. I wrote poetry. I always sat there like that in the dark and talked about our 5 favorite poems and books and laughed and smoked. And Mick Jagger went on to say, trying to stop the waves behind your eyeballs. Drop your reds, drop your greens and blues. Pages from history. In the morning, Robbie's alarm clock buzzed like an air raid warning. We had to get up to go to school. When I opened my eyes, I was lying next to Robbie on his bed, my arms stretched across the space between us, and my open hand lay flat in the middle of Robbie's chest. I had my legs pressed up against his legs. One of my feet was completely underneath Robbie's calf. The covers of Robbie's bed had been thrown down on the floor around his footboard, and we sprawled out on top of the bottom sheet. At that moment, all I had on were some boxers, my left sock, and the silver chain Johnny McKean gave me with St. Casimiro's on it around my neck. I sat up, still drunk and woozy from the pill. I felt drained and rushed, like my brain had just flushed itself down the toilet of my throat. I was vaguely aware that Robbie sat up in bed. He turned off his alarm and watched me while I rolled my legs over the edge of his bed. It was all I could do to will myself to not vomit until I staggered and tripped my dropping boxers out of Robbie's bedroom. I needed to find the toilet. Robbie's favorite poem is Dulce et Decorum Est by Wilfred Owen. It's a poem about wars and lies, youth and feebry. It begins, bent double like old beggars under sacks, knock-kneed, coughing like hags, we cursed through the sludge. Robbie was very good cast for words. My favorite poem is The Emperor of Ice Cream by Wallace Stevens. If it is a poem about everything else, sex, lust, pleasure, loneliness, and death, it is a poem. It's death. It begins. Call the roller of the big cigars, the muscular one, and bid him whip in kitchen cups concupiscent curds. Concupiscent curds. Robbie recited this poem from memory that night, and I fumbled over some of the last lines in my poem. Finally got it right. They were both so beautiful, and their sound, as we said them to each other above the music, made our chests fill up with something electric and buzzing like love and magic. When I finished throwing up, I flushed the toilet and turned on Robbie's shower. I dropped my orphaned sock and Arrow-applied boxers onto the floor below the sink. I climbed in the tub and got under the water. It was cold, and there was a grimy ring of brown that had accumulated around the bottom of Robbie's bathtub. The apartment had only the one bathroom. It was right in the middle of the T-shaped hallway that separated Robbie's bedroom from his mother's. Connie's Breeze was not home from work yet. I put my face under the water. I felt terrible. My hands blurred, and I fingered the metal of St. Casimir's and looked at his modest eyes and little upside-down halo. I put the thing in my mouth. I heard the bathroom door open. Robbie said, "Austin, are you okay, Austin?" "I'm okay," I said. There was an edge in my voice. And I said, "Can you just let me have 5 minutes, Robbie, okay?" "Sure, I brought your school clothes in for you." Robbie was sad because I was being an asshole. I did not want to go to school. I never wanted to get out of that dirty shower. I did not want to look at Robbie Breeze. I said, "Okay, thank you." But I said it in such a tone that it meant, "Get out of here and leave me alone." Exactly that moment, Shannon was eating a toasted bagel and looking at a black and white photograph of the McKeon household. And while I was standing under the shower in Robbie's apartment, Travis passed out behind the wheel of his Nissan truck and crashed into a shallow drain ditch on the practice fields at Herbert Hoover High School. His wife Eileen was sitting beside him. She was not wearing her seatbelt. They were hatching. Someone down the hall from Robbie's apartment at the Del Vista Arms was holding a torch lighter below a glass pipe and cooking the methamphetamine smoke into his face. Ollie Youngfrau was finally taking a shit. He was going to be late for work. Johnny McKeon was driving to the Ealing Mall. He was in a good mood. Johnny McKeon is always in a good mood. Wong Sing was looking at video from the porn site in the Netherlands. He was going to be late from work. I was combing Robbie's conditioner with my fingers through my hair. It smelled like bubblegum. My brother, Eric Christopher Serva, was on his way to a hospital in Germany. He had lost both of his testicles and his right leg from the knee down. 2 other boys died in the same explosion. We could not learn this until the following day. Robbie Breeze was in his hangover, sitting on a bed. He put his face into his palms and cried. And I left.